Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope you can hear me okay. Let's see. All right, get this going. Okay, testing. I hope you all can hear. Um, hey Chris, welcome in. Chris, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Um, if my volume is set right, that way we can get rolling here. Should be really good. We got 5 people in already. Yep, sounds good. Okay, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. All right. So, welcome to the VC Family Table, where we sit down and talk about music and records that we like, but we also talk about other things that are in our lives and things we have in common together, and we share with each other. So we're not necessarily having to talk about records, but that's something that we all have in common. Excuse me, I got the high phlegm content from my coffee this morning. Too much half and half in my coffee. Anyway, oh man. So okay. So let's see. I had a great week. Had a long week this last week. I worked 6 days, lots of overtime hauling, and I'm actually getting up at 3 o'clock. I get up at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning and head to Eastern Washington. So it's going to be a long day, but I'm so happy that we have this time together right now. So yesterday, or actually I'll show that earlier in the week, I swung by a thrift shop here in my little town of Silverton and found this. This is kind of cool. Look at this. This is a Garrard 3000. It's not a fancy record player, but look at that dust cover. Isn't that interesting? And it turns. I haven't checked it out yet, but yeah, I was kind of tickled to find it. It was really cheap. I don't think the needle's good on it anymore, but it does work, and so I'm excited to see what I can do with this, and I don't know, see what happens. But I kind of keep my eye out for old gear like this, which is kind of fun. Is Gerard the way you pronounce it, or Gerard? I've heard both, but so yesterday I rode the bike up to Portland and hung out with. I went right to Dr. Robert's house. We all know and love Dr. Robert. He's a sweet guy, and sat on his deck overlooking the Willamette River, and hung out and just talked about all sorts of stuff. And it was really good. His wife Susan was there, and she's so pleasant and wonderful. And so that was really cool. And after that, I decided to go to a few record shops in Portland. We have so many here. I hadn't been to a place called Second Street Records right downtown, and it was okay. Too many new records to wade through. But I think I got a Bill Nelson album there, which was fun. But then I went to Too Many Records, which is one of my favorite shops in Portland, and hung out with Matt there. I think you all know Matt. He's got a big YouTube channel, and that was fun. I ended up finding some really cool 1974s. When I went to Belfast, and I wanted to wait and find a UK copy of this. Belfast is Van Morrison's hometown, and I could not find a copy of this anywhere in Belfast. And it was so weird. I even went to the HMV, and they didn't have it. So when I came home and I went into to Too Many Records, they had a copy. Now this is not an original. It's a Vinyl Me Please album, and it's the first Vinyl Me Please that I've. It was a special edition they did with green vinyl, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm really excited to. And it also came with this original artwork, which is really kind of cool. That was really fun. I got my first Zamrock album from 1974. This is a repress because the originals are scarce and pricey, but I listened to this last night. It's really good. I know Dylan from from Noble Records loves the Zamrock, and a lot of guys do. But I went to Mississippi Records after Too Many Records, and I found this there. So that was really cool. And it's it's a good album. Very cool. I found the $2 record section at Mississippi and picked this up. I already have a copy of this, but I couldn't resist for just $2. This is the play-by-play and commentary for the 1977 NBA championship when the Blazers beat the 76ers, beat Dr. J and the 76ers. This is let's see if I get my thing right. This is Bill Walton right here, who we lost this last year. Great guy and a total deadhead. I mean, he was a friend of Jerry, and very beloved here in the in Oregon and the Pacific Northwest. Very cool guy. Anyway, this is really cool, and I'm glad to have it. I'm gonna gift this to somebody who's a Blazer fan along the way somewhere. We'll see. But one of the maybe the best album I got yesterday, and it's not a 74, but I got it from Dr. Robert, and he gifted it to me, and it's this Peter Barden's Vintage 69, and it has, as you can see, his trademark label on it, and I'm definitely not taking, it's going to stay in this sleeve. The album, it rocks so hard. It's so good. I put it on right away. And what's wild is it actually came in clear vinyl back in the day. This is, I don't think it's an original, but it's not a recent press, but it's really good. I don't know if anybody, I had never heard about this guy Peter Barden's, but maybe some of you have. Anyway, so I had a great day yesterday. Then came home, and the missus had a steak waiting for me, and I just sat down and listened to records and ate my dinner, and it was a good evening. And then okay, so I've been waiting for this guest for over a month. I had talked to her before I went to Belfast, and we kind of planned to get together. And she's some people they think of her as kind of a den mother of the VC. Sometimes they think of maybe she's like a little sister to some, but she's like a big sister to me, and she's very I consider her a close friend, and I got a lot of love for her. So today we have.
Aww, Marty, that's so sweet.
Well, you deserve it. You totally deserve it. Thank you so much for coming up and hanging out with us today, and hope we have a good conversation, and we can interact with all the people that are here to see. Now let's see. Let's shout out some people.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. So you're sitting in the captain's chair, or no? You normally captain's chair. You're what would you?
I'm in Rachel's spot because I went to StreamYard, but then the mic wasn't set up and it was going to be a hassle, so I just moved over here.
Okay, all right on. So everybody's here. Ian's here. Rochelle's here. Harry's here. I am one of us. Is that Stefan?
That's Frank.
Frank. Okay. Yeah. And here's Jack. Jack's here. Of course, Chris is here. Yvonne's here with all of his love that he gives us all the time. Anyway, so let's get into the dirty details, as they say, shall we? No, this should be fun.
We're all going to be very disappointed.
Hey, Sue, where were you born?
I was born in Victoria on Vancouver Island.
So
born with my twin. I have a twin brother.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I think I remember that. Is it just the two of you?
No, there's three other siblings.
There's three of us. Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
The oldest, then my sister, then another brother, and then the twins came next.
Okay.
So it came last.
Are your folks still around?
No, they both passed away.
Okay.
Sadly,
So you grew up on the island. Did you live anywhere else, or have you been on the island your whole life? Is that right?
No,
okay.
And we lived in the same home my whole childhood till I left home, and it was great. Yeah. It's like a little storybook castle. It's just
it
a cute little a beautiful place.
How far away from where you are now did you grow up?
It's probably about a 2-hour trip. So drive, a little 20-minute ferry, and then another 45-minute drive, and we'd be at our at our house.
Okay, so you would take a ferry up to where you were.
Well, if you don't want to go over the Malahat Mountain, you can drive all the way down the island, but you can take a little ferry that crosses over, so it skips the Malahat. It skips the mountain drive if you don't want to take it. And so it's basically a 2-hour trip, hour and a half.
Okay. Was it a small town?
Victoria.
Oh,
it's a capital city of British Columbia.
Oh, you grew up in Victoria.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were north. You're north of where you grew up then.
Yeah,
okay.
But we're in Nanaimo now.
Yes.
Nanaimo.
Nanaimo. How big is Nanaimo?
I'm not sure. It's a good little size city. I'm not sure how many people are up here.
You get everything you need in Nanaimo, right?
Oh yeah, I know. It's got all the box stores. It's like on this island, it's like the city that has all the malls and everything. So there's tons of malls here. There's lots of car lots, but there's a lot of beautiful stuff here too. So yeah, if you want to go out and hike or get to the ocean or do anything, it's all just minutes away. So yeah, It's a really great location.
How far of
the island?
How far of a ferry ride is it over to Vancouver?
It's an hour and about 40 minutes from downtown Nanaimo.
So can you see? You can't see the mainland from Nanaimo, or can you?
No, it's kind of blocked by islands. So you can see the big islands, but you can't see the mainland from here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. But when we lived in Victoria, you could look out over the southern part of Victoria, and you could see the Olympic Mountains, the Olympic Range. So you could see right down into the United States from Victoria. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did your folks come? Were they both born on the island too?
They were born on the island, but pioneering families. So Rachel knows all about that. But I mean, my great-great-grandpa was a pioneer in Victoria. He built the Prairie Inn, which is this pub that's still standing way back in the day. They came over, I think, on the Norman Morrison in what was that time? 1830. The Norman Morrison.
Oh gosh, like 1850 or something.
Right, about 1850 they came over. So
from England?
From he came from Kent. So
okay, right on.
Yeah, so we've been sticking around here for a long time on the island.
Yeah.
It's great.
Do you have a do you feel like it's a special place? Obviously Vancouver Island is it's a beautiful, it's a Pacific Northwest, which I'm used to and whatever.
Yeah.
But did you ever desire in your life that you wanted to get away, or did you always feel at home where you're at?
No, I always felt home here. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful place, but you know what? I love the interior of BC too. Like I love the desert country and Kelowna and all those areas. Like I think it's beautiful out there as well. But no, the weather here is incredible. And I like the island. The only reason I would ever move is if, things were very restrictive here in British Columbia.
Sure.
I'd be like, where I gotta go.
All right. So you're growing up. Were you in the suburbs, or when did you have this love of horses that maybe we'll get into a little bit? When did horses come into your life, or when did you start getting interested?
When didn't they really? I mean, my mom took me out riding when I was a kid. And I mean, I won't go into long details, but that was like the moment where I went, she took me it's such a vague memory, but her friends in Cobble Hill, just down the island, had a couple of really great ponies, big ones. And so she loved horses too. She went out, her dad snuck her out to a riding stables to ride on weekends, and always told her mom that they were doing something different, because her mom never wanted her to ride, was terrified of horses and didn't want her to be near them. But he snuck her out. So anyway, she's kind of snuck me out. We went for this trail ride in this beautiful scenery on this beautifully behaved, chubby pony. And I went, this is it. I mean, this is what is better than this. And I was just horse nuts after that. And of course, she probably regretted it, because I was like, where's my pony? Where's my pony? Mom and Dad, buy me a pony. And of course, they have 5 kids. So there was never going to be a pony bought for me. But I will tell you what, when I graduated, I had already bought my own second horse. So the first horse was gone. She was very old, but I have bought a second horse with my own money, paid for everything with my own money. I got a job when I was 15 because I wanted a horse so bad. So I got a job at a fish and chip shop with a very cranky Scottish owner that I was terrified of. Fortunately, he left very quickly after that. But got my horse, got everything going. I rode for about 4 years, graduated. I was at a horse show the week of my graduation. My parents, this horse trailer pulls up and they unload this horse that I knew of that my coach had been schooling. And they brought her over and said, "This is for you."
Oh my. Wow. So you had a horse before you had your first car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cars, I did not care about cars.
Yeah.
So it was this gorgeous thoroughbred jumper, a very snazzy horse. And unfortunately, she was crazy. So she wasn't safe to take on trails. And I love trail riding. So she needed to go for a couple of years just to rest. She was off the racetrack. And she was a little bonkers. So they need to settle her down for a couple of years before they started retraining her. So, but anyway, the gesture was never forgotten. They'd never done anything like that for any of their kids. And
wow. Did you ever feel intimidated by a horse, or did you just feel comfortable from the giddy up? From the giddy up?
Well, as a young person, I had no fear. So I knew good horsemanship. I mean, because I did start taking lessons right away. So I knew to respect horses, and there were different types of horses, and some weren't as nice as others. But no, I had no fear. I wasn't intimidated. The only time I ever became intimidated was after an accident with my own horse, where she ran over me at a full gallop. I had a brain injury. After that, there was a bit of a PTSD with that.
How old were you when that happened?
This was in 2019. So, I mean, I had like 9 years of riding her with no fear. She was amazing. And I rode for years before that and so on, and took lessons. And I never had any issues, but that took a lot to get over.
So let's go back to when you're like becoming a teenager and you're becoming social and did horses always take priority over other friendships or the time that you might spend with?
They did. Yeah. So I'm in high school. I've got my horse, and my bestie, who has just moved up to Cedar near me, she had her horse. And that's all we cared about. There was this lovely boy in school, and he wanted to go out on a date. And it was kind of like one of my first dates. And he was like, it was shocking because he was like very good looking. And I was just like, this is stupid and this can't be real. But I'm like, okay, he's so cute and everything. And I just really wasn't into boys, but I knew he was quite nice. So, of course, it's like, okay, well, we can have a date, but you have to meet me at the barn. So it was like, we got no way we're doing anything else. You're coming to the barn, and that's like it. And he missed the bus or something. He couldn't get there. And he came over later, a couple of days later, and he's like, I really like you so much. And he brought me this piece of jewelry, like some sort of,
oh, wow.
And I'm like terrified. And I'm like, no. I am like, I just said, you know what? I'm just not ready for this. Yeah. You know, I just want to ride my horse and whatever. And we sent him away.
Interesting. So, okay.
Yeah. No, horse always, as a teenager, horses always took priority over everything else.
So did you board your horses someplace?
Yeah. We boarded them. We never had property or whatever, but
was there, so when you get the horse is one thing, but I've had family, and when I was growing up, we had some ponies for a little while and whatever, and animals cost money to maintain, don't they?
They do.
Was that, did you devote the jobs you had, was that like priority? Had to, yeah.
No, I had 3 jobs for a long time to support my riding. You know, I had like one night off for 2 years once, but I mean,
Wow.
when you're insane, you're insane. So
You had the sickness. That's
mine
cool.
had pretty bad.
No,
I mean,
that's
I
cool.
still do. I just got my saddle back. I couldn't sell it. I sent it down to be consigned. For 2 years, it didn't sell, and I'm like, well, whatever. It's back. I'm staring at it. It just needs something to go on. So,
Do you
anyway,
do you
part
see
of
yourself riding again? Maybe not owning a horse, but do you? That's cool.
I will not own a horse again, just because of the expense. We can't afford
Sure.
it. But
Sure.
if I'm telling you, if we had the money, I would have a horse. There's no question about it.
Okay. Someone asked earlier, I don't know who it was, do you ride Western or English?
English riding, yeah.
So that's no horn in the front. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Did you wear cowboy boots or cowgirl boots when you rode?
No.
No.
Do you, tall boots, they call them.
The tall boots. Okay. All
Yeah.
right, those big ones.
They're tall. They're black or whatever.
Like the Mounties wear, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you wear a helmet?
Oh, yeah.
Important? Okay.
Well, that's the thing. I wasn't wearing my helmet when my horse ran over me because I was just in the paddock. And I had taken off all the gear, took off my helmet. So, I mean, after that, as soon as I got in the driveway of that parked in the parking lot, the helmet went on my head. You know, because anything can happen at any time with a horse, and whether you're grooming them or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I know one lady who got a very bad concussion because her pony spooked and slammed her against the barn wall. She just snapped her head on the wall, and she was sick for a long time. So, I mean, wear those helmets, people. Same as like your bike, right?
Same as a motorcycle.
Same.
Yeah. I have friends that just wear open face helmets.
No.
And a lot of guys that just wear the little skull caps. A lot of Harley guys here just wear the skull caps.
Mm-hmm.
But I went over I had a high side, it's called. I went over the handlebars on a bike once and scraped up the front of my helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And, you realize that would have been my face.
Would have been your face. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, I like being out. I like my face. I always have my visor up. And I like to smell the cold and being out in the open air. But, yeah, safety first. Because I
was just going to say, I think there's something kind of the same as like you're on a bike. I mean, I like to cycle too, but that feeling of the speed and the rush and you're moving, like, you know, and doing it on the horse is so incredible. Because I used to take my big mare over to an old racetrack that was near where we boarded. And it was basically just a boarding facility, but they had kept the old racetrack, Sandown racetrack. And you could take them out on the track and just
wow.
And she was so good. I mean, I'd just be going, okay, let's go. And we would go. And it was incredible.
Yeah.
Much fun.
Do you have a favorite horse movie that you like? Like National Velvet? I love that.
Well, I watched that as a kid. My mom took
Yeah.
it, you know, so we'll say that for now. But I mean, yeah. I mean,
I think mine is probably The Black Stallion. That my dad took me to the theater to see that when I was a kid, and it blew my mind.
I read every horse book there is to read that I could get my hands on as a kid. I mean, I was nuts. I still am.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say you're in high school. When did you move out of the mom and dad's house? What was that like? What was that?
I got married, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Moved out of my parents' place. I was going to church. I'd sold my horses, met someone there, got married, moved out. So
did that feel like the right thing to do at the time? Did it feel like?
Well, at the time it did, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, on the honeymoon, I realized like this person was probably not a good choice. They showed a different. I mean, it was very rushed and too soon, and I was too young, and it was dumb. But
how old were you?
I was 20, maybe just 20, probably. I think.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it doesn't. You know, back in the day, it didn't. You know, we got I was 22 and my wife was 19, and it worked out. You know, wonderful and stuff. And it wasn't that odd. But nowadays, it seems young to get married at 20 years old.
Well, I was like, just not ready to really see and understand people that well. I mean, I was pretty naive. So, you know, I mean, you look back and you go, well, if I knew then what I knew now, that marriage would never have happened. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, but I was a kid basically at that point.
Did you see yourself as kind of sheltered, or like, were you said you met your first husband in church?
Yep.
Was your social life encapsulated kind of in that community at
It
that
was.
time?
Yeah. It was. See, I'm pretty introverted. I just have my riding friends, and I rode my horses, and I worked, and I rode, and I went to school. Then, I became a Christian. That's a whole nother story. I had this amazing supernatural conversion. You might be interested in hearing. I have no idea if you want to hear about that, but
yes, please.
Basically, this all happened, became involved in church, and that was kind of my first big social interaction with more than like 2 or 3 people, if you want to say that. And sold my horses. I mean, it was just I had the 2 horses at the time, and moved along that way. And just, it was one step after another. I've found someone, I got married, and then I'm like, so you don't have a lot of life experience really. So for me, it was too young to get married. And I remember Rachel and I were friends back then,
Oh, really? Okay.
She told the story of like when she was away in Drumheller, came back and looked at me, and I'm like, we're not talking about this. We're not going to go there because I'm getting married no matter what. This is a thing to do. And I'm very stubborn. So when I kind of get my mind thinking this is the correct thing to do, I'm on it. I'm like, nobody's going to change my mind. So, I mean, I like to think I'm a bit better at that now that I'm like 60.
Were your parents not religious? Did you go, was that a thing okay. So how did you find the church, and what was that process?
Well, how did I become a Christian really is, I'll try not to draw it out too much, but I was basically, as a teenager, I was looking for love. So I felt that was something that was missing. Like there was just this draw to like, well, what is it all about? And so I had all the typical teenage questions. Why am I here? What's it all about? Where is this love that people talk about? And I just always had that kind of searching thing in my mind and in my heart. I remember looking up at the stars. I mean, I went to this great riding school vacation with some older friends of mine, really great couple. And we went to this school. I'm in Mexico. We're having the time of our lives. I'm 18. I'm looking up to the sky going, this just all feels like nothing, even though I'm here. Why am I feel so unsatisfied when I have everything here? That I've got horses, I got friends, I love Mexico. It was a great holiday. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I would continually go like, what is a spot that I can't fill? And so, I mean, that was just always in the back of my mind and in my heart. And so then, long story short, I'm working at a restaurant. I'm working with this lady named Sandy. She's really great. And she told me a little Christian stuff, but I can't remember. It just really all just kind of went over my head. Rachel as Dave and Boy World came in, and they were dating, the 2 of them. Looked into Dave's eyes, and I'm like, holy, I'm freaked out for some reason, So I don't know if that was some sort of weird premonition thing happening there. But I'm like, I took off I was extremely shy and introverted, extremely.
Okay.
So you wouldn't catch me talking to anyone like this or sharing my feelings. They were completely bottled up. Talk about horses, no problem. But off to the washroom I run. I'm hiding in there, staring in the mirror, going, what is wrong with you? Why did you do that? This is so strange. And I composed myself and go, no, you're fine. Went back out, talked, served, Dave food or whatever, talk with Sam, everything, life goes on.
Were you engaged at this point or married?
No, I hadn't ever been to church or anything.
Okay. All right.
Went to Anglican church when I was
That's
a kid.
right. This is before the conversion. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Sandy invites me to go to church, and I'm like, well, sure, I'll go to church. I'll go to church, no big. And so they pick me up. We go to church. It's a very non-stuffy church. You know what I mean? Like Rachel has described it, like there's music up on a screen. Everybody can see the words. It's not like the church I went to, the Anglican church I went to as a kid when I was in the choir. So everybody's singing, they're smiling, they're hugging each other. They're like, I'm going, what the heck is this? It's so weird, but okay.
Would you call it charismatic? Would that be
It was a charismatic church, yeah.
Okay.
Charismatic, Bible believing,
Yeah.
Christian church, I guess.
Speaking in tongues?
They did, yeah, they did. That didn't bother me. I didn't really register any of this stuff.
Yeah.
The pastor came up, spoke, and everything he said was me. It was one of those situations where everything he talked about was what I felt and what I was going through at the time. And so I was quite touched by that. And no, not Pentecostal. It was just a non-denominational, charismatic type Christian church. So people put their hands in the air, they sung, whatever. And so I was like kind of in tears during the sermon or whatever you want to call it, his talking and whatnot. So that was fine. Nothing registered, but I just was like very touched by it. We all go out for lunch afterwards. Sandy, Dave, who is Rachel now, and one of their friends named Sheila, a close friend. And we're sitting in a restaurant, the four of us, and they're talking and whatnot. And then, no, it wasn't a cult. You were free to leave. Free to leave, free to go, come and go as you please. And we're just talking, and then this feeling came all over me from out there. And I can't describe it in any other way. Nothing they said, nothing we talked about, nothing from inside myself. This feeling came from outside in. And I'm like, looked at them and I go, what is happening? Like, what is happening? I'd never experienced anything like that before. And I was just like, I'm all choked up now. But I'm like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? What is happening? They said, well, what are you talking about? And I go, well, I feel something around me. And Sandy goes, well, I think that's probably Jesus Christ is probably what's happening. It's the Holy Spirit. And so I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Even though I went to church for like a long time and I was in a choir, whatever, I had no idea what she was talking about. I went, whatever. I go, I don't know what you're saying, but this is really weird. And then it subsided. It lasted for a while, like 5 minutes or something. And I'm like, I just was freaked out. It was just
it was scary to some degree.
I wasn't scared, but I was like, what is happening? It was supernatural. I knew it was supernatural.
Yeah.
I felt that unquestionably, that it was not in the sphere of anything in the natural world that I had ever experienced before. And so we have lunch and everything, and then it's gone. And I'm like, I'm good, and I'm trying to kind of shake that off or whatever. And then I went with my friend Sheila that I just met. She was a nurse at the hospital kind of next door. So she said, well, come on over and we'll talk about whatever. I can't remember. She'd come and see my place or something. So we're going to the building. And then as soon as I was at the door, she just walked ahead of me. As soon as I hit the door of her apartment, her little place where the nursing students stayed, it just totally came on me again, this incredible sensation. And we weren't talking about anything. She was over there. I just walked into this wall of John, see, I'm scared after hearing this, but I just walked into this wall of this incredible sensation. And I'm like, what is this? Like, and I'm almost going like, who is this? Like, what is happening? And we sit down and I say, I'm kind of interested in whatever. So she starts reading me some scriptures out of the Bible and talking about Jesus and why he came, what he did. He was a real person walking on the earth, which I didn't realize before. I didn't understand even that Jesus was a historical figure. And she was just saying something. And then suddenly it was just like when they say in the Bible, my eyes were opened. I went, oh, wait a minute. And it was just kind of this rush. And I'm like, I get it. I know what it is. I know it, and I just couldn't stop saying, I get it, I understand it, I know it. It's him, it's Jesus, it's Jesus. That's all I could say.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. It was amazing, and I'm like, I understood right within that moment that Jesus was real. He died for my sins. He's the love I'm looking for. Everything that it was like was amazing. And I'm like, I understand what the Old Testament means. I hadn't even read it yet, but it was like so revelatory. This is why the Old Testament's there. This is why Jesus is here. This is why he died for me. And this is, he can take care of all the sins that I've felt the guilt over all this time. And we prayed together, and it was like, I just felt like everything had been taken care of in one fell swoop. It was unbelievable. And, I said before, I was a very shy person. Not after that. I was like,
really?
I've become a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I told my mom, I said, I can't, mom, and I'm just like, I was able to talk to people. I just expressed my feelings. I was like, it was just a night and day conversion. And when someone saw me who hadn't seen me before, like the next day, they said, what happened to you? What is going on with you?
You're reborn.
Basically, exactly.
Yeah.
And and then I had one other of that crazy kind of supernatural happening in my life. Soon after that, I was all happy. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I'm like, I understand this stuff. Just the long and short of it. I'm walking in. I walk up to my room, and the same thing. I walked as I'm going through the doorway of my room. That his spirit just came all over again. Like it was a big rush, and I'm like, "What's happening?" And I'm like, this is now I knew what it was. I go, this is God. God is trying to talk to me. And God is trying to tell me something. And I'm like, he stopped me dead in my tracks. And he's trying to tell me something. And I'm like, so now I knew what to do. I'm like, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? Like, what's up? Like, what's happening? And then he just, no verbal voice or anything, but I just knew it was the art that I had on my walls. I had a lot of very new age type art on the wall, all sorts of new agey kind of stuff going on. And in my searching of things, I had put these things up on the wall, and I go, that's it. The pictures, they got to come down. And it was like I just felt that release and sensation of joy and love and all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, I took them down. I took them down to burn them in the furnace, and my mom was like freaking out. She goes, you love those posters? And I go, not anymore, I don't. So
did you feel in that moment, it sounds like you felt more free and less not convicted to take, like you were doing something wrong, like you just didn't need him anymore.
Yeah, well, I felt like God's trying to tell me something. What is it? I never felt anything like you were bad to have this or bad to have that. I just felt extremely liberated, because I had found something real. So I had found something that actually can come out of the sky and can come in reality into my life. That was not just a thought process. This had nothing to do with my thought processes or my understanding of anything, because I didn't understand anything. And there you have it. I was.
Did you feel that God or Jesus provided? Was he like a father figure to you, or did he fill some void that maybe your dad didn't? I don't want to sound like I'm psychoanalyzing you or anything, but I wonder.
Yeah, well, he was like the ultimate father, the ultimate savior. I felt the love of God. So I felt that love, and I felt like I found what I was looking for. And I've never, ever needed to search again after that point.
Did you feel like you could tell him things that maybe you couldn't talk with your dad about, or other people?
Well, my dad was not a person you communicated with. And in fact, when I became a Christian, I'm like, I love you, Dad. I'm like, and I would give him big hugs. And he was like, because he's not a hugger, not a person who would express any kinds of emotion really or anything. He wasn't, he was a good dad, but he wasn't like a loving, affectionate father in
Okay.
any way. But
He was a provider.
yeah, he did his
Yeah.
job. He was good. I
That's
love
cool.
my dad. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're 18 years old at that point. Is that what you said?
Mhm.
Okay. So you're going to this same church with your friend regularly, and that's when you started hanging out with this other dude.
Yes.
How long was it after that? Then so it was a couple years you're there, and then you got married at 20.
Yes. Yeah.
And was Dave around at that time,
Yeah.
or?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we were really, really good friends. Yeah. No,
Okay.
we were great friends. And
Okay.
his fiance as well. So they
Okay.
got married, and then I got married shortly after they got married.
Ah, okay.
Everybody people were getting married all the time, but
Yeah,
that
that's how it was growing up in my church and the circle of churches and stuff like that. People, it's just what you
got
do,
married,
kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah, you got married.
we
Yeah,
weren't going to go out and do things without getting
yeah.
married. So
I mean,
why-
you wanted to have sex for goodness sake, and you couldn't do it unless you were married. I mean, that's the way it
right.
was supposed to be.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that's the only reason we got married, but it sure made that a lot easier. So,
Yes.
okay, so you say on your honeymoon you were like, oh, you're checking yourself. You're kind of like, uh-oh.
Well, he just acted like a jerk on the honeymoon.
Oh, really?
Family, and he got all this kind of confidence. He's just acting like an ass, and I'm like, I don't like that. Ooh.
Huh.
Did not see that before, and of course I'm like bawling and crying my eyes out. And
Yeah.
came back home from the honeymoon and called up Dave and Sandy, and I'm like, I'm miserable.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I went over and I'm just like crying forever and saying I made a terrible mistake, and it was just one of those things.
Yeah. How long did things deteriorate really quickly, or did that last a while?
We probably stayed together for about a year or so. Honestly, it really is quite a blur. There's a lot of funny stories between then and now with him and everything. He's passed on now. He died a few years ago. So R.I.P. Brian. He was a good guy, but a very insecure person. And he was passive aggressive. Let's just put it that way. So I learned about passive aggressiveness. I mean, I learned a lot of things, but
yeah.
And about being religious. He was more religious than I was. So
okay, so maybe more legalistic.
He was more legalistic, and I'm like, yikes, and his friends and family were legalistic, and I'm like, no, this is not the gospel that I know. So
yeah. Okay, so you're with him for a couple more years. What was did you get with Dave? When did Rachel's relationship end, and can you kind of circle around that a little bit, that transition period?
That's such
mid-20s?
that's a long and detailed story.
Okay, you can give us the broad strokes.
We were friends for a long time. So from the time I was 20 to the time I was in my early 30s, like 30, like John was born in 30 when I was 31.
So you were single for a while, for 8 years or whatever.
Yeah, we split up. I split up from Brian and never hooked up with anyone after that 10 years. So, I mean, I just wasn't interested. I mean, I was interested, but there was no one there.
Yeah.
And I was never a person to just hook up with someone for whatever, because I was lonely or wanted to be with somebody. I believed in something that was going to be
was deeper, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the real thing. The real thing. Yeah. And my life was full and good in some ways. So, yeah.
Okay. So, so you at 31, you and Dave get together and start a relationship.
Look, church stuff went to hell. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, okay. Did the church break
Our
apart?
church broke apart. They brought in all these horrible teachings about being rich and having money and all this crap.
Oh, the prosperity gospel.
Prosperity gospel came in
Yeah.
and basically destroyed our church. And because it was set up, they had put people in positions that weren't so spiritual. It's more because they owned this or they owned that. They weren't able to hold this congregation together. So, I mean, and Dave was like, this is crap. This is crap. I mean, he got kicked out of church probably more than once for saying, look, you guys this is not good. They spied on our Bible studies because it was just nuts. And then, so everybody's out of church. Everybody's going and doing their own thing. We tried different churches over the years. I always remained friends with Dave and Sandy. They were married at that point. I was working at John's Place restaurant, so on and so on. And it's just so hard to go into because Dave's wife was not well. She had a mental illness. I was there for her for 20 years, cared for her, was like her person that she could always rely on. I was always there for her to help her in any way I could. And really, I put my life on hold, caring for her needs in a way. But it did bring Dave and I closer together. So we just seemed to hook up in every way, like the way we thought about life, God, and the Marines. We basically, just had that incredible connection. And after about 10 years, we were together, but not officially. Okay. We were under the table. Yeah. I got pregnant. Dave was still married. It was a to-do.
Okay.
A big deal. It was a problem.
Did you have at that time, were you all still going to the same church and you had the same circle of friends?
We were involved somewhat with the church at that time.
Yeah.
But no, it was people that we still knew people from church, but we weren't attending regularly. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Let's jump ahead to your son being born. You said you were 31.
I was. Yeah.
What was it? So it was a surprise, or did you plan to get pregnant? It was.
Oh no, I did not plan to get pregnant. Yeah. No, it shouldn't happen, but it did.
What was being pregnant like for you after you were a grown up? For sure, it's not like you're 20 years old and being pregnant. What were you thinking at that time?
I mean, this was a burst pregnancy because all I felt was guilt because I had an affair and that was supposed to be my best friend, and like I'm with her husband and it's all this, and it was really very difficult to get past that because we never really wanted to cause that much suffering.
Sure.
That way.
Yeah.
And I gave him up for adoption and they adopted him. So this is how that all worked out. I wanted my son to go to be with a family, and I couldn't give a family because there was no way Dave and I were going to be together. Like when this happened, we all said, we've got to kind of get this worked out. They felt like the best, most honorable thing to do was try to keep the marriage together. And so we all tried to take a course that was the best thing to do. And yet really we should have just stayed together at that point. But we didn't. We felt like we were going to try to be good people and you're going to work on your marriage and I'm going to give the child up for adoption and move on. And so, we really just prolonged the agony in our lives for 9 more years after that.
So okay. Tell me, Sue, if I'm asking questions that are too personal, but
no, I don't mind sharing. It's so
I can't imagine what it would have been like we're giving up your child to, and it was to Dave and his wife.
Yeah. Well, I knew that at least a child was going to be with his father. So that was really important to me.
Yeah. Was it going to be, were you going to step outside the friendship circle at that point and not be involved in the child's life, or how did that?
Because, like, Sandy was like very forgiving as well, even though there were many moments where she was very unforgiving. But no, I stayed in his life as his Auntie Sue, and he knew he was adopted right away. He was told, like, as soon as he was old enough to know what that was, he was told he was adopted, but he was never told who his real parents were. We stayed on as friends over the years. I mean, Sandy and I would take John to the park. We do all this stuff together. I was still in this big, huge support role for her that I couldn't get out of. Whether it was guilt or whatever, I just felt like I couldn't leave that situation. And so that went on for 9 years.
Was it really, how was it seeing another woman raise your child, but yet still being on the outside and the child not knowing?
I would not recommend that to anybody.
Yeah.
It was very difficult, but I tried to just do what was best for John. So it was important. I think I was there, but yeah, I just really tried to put everybody's feelings ahead of mine. And, 1 year when I hit 40, she was planning on, their marriage was falling apart. It had never been great, but it was even falling apart again then. And she was planning on leaving Dave. And she wanted me to go stay with her, to be a roommate, to help financially, to help in every way. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I realized then she started saying stuff like that and intimating. And I'm like, this is where it's going to end. This relationship has to stop. And I said, that's it. I'm going. If I lose John, if I lose Dave, who I still in love with, but just left, we left that be for all those years. And, but I got to go. This is it. And I remember one day kind of driving around the road and driving home to my place. And I'm like, I don't feel the grace of God in my life. It's like the grace of God helped me through all that time. And I felt this strength to be doing what I was doing, to be in that supportive role or whatever. But then one day I'm just driving along. It was one of those other things where I just went, it's gone. The grace to do this is gone. And then this other stuff started happening a little short time after that. So, and I was finding it very difficult to be in that situation. And then I'm like, well, I got to go. So I told Dave, I said, I got to go. I've said my mom's going to come pick up my stuff. I was actually roommating with them at the time. And Dave's mom was there. It was just crazy. And, I got to say goodbye to John. If I never see him again, my child, whatever, I got to go. I go. Dave says, I'm going to go with you. So he said, I'm coming with you. So, and from then on, we've been together since.
Wow. Wow.
So, I mean, and it was like, this is what we should have done such a long time ago, but we tried so hard to be good people.
By good people, do you mean like
right.
do what God?
Well, we didn't know if God thought of anything about that. I felt really like ashamed and guilty.
Sure.
But I was trying to deal with that. But part of it also just, what? For the first time, I also felt like I was part of the human race. Welcome to the human race. You fucked up really badly here.
Yeah.
And it was kind of also a liberating kind of feeling. I'm like,
I can imagine. Oh my goodness.
Because I was this person who always tried to be good. I always tried to do the right thing. I always felt compelled to feel what other people were feeling and be protective of that, and put my stuff second. And how, I don't know why I was like that. That's just the way I was. But
did you feel at that time then like you were able to surrender to your own fallibility, like just be okay with messing up, like it's all right? Yeah.
I mean, I felt, and then there was a lot of reconnecting spiritually, like with God at that time, and that was, of course, incredibly helpful. But yeah, it was just a crazy situation. So now I'm there, she has John, and that's okay. She was a good mom. She loved John. I mean, I will never, like, her first fear was, are you going to try to take him from me? And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this like civilized people, and we worked out our times. So however, everything happens when relationships split up. When John was 9 years old, she told him, that
I was
we
going to
were.
ask, how did John find out that you were his
She
mom?
told him because
She
her
told him.
counselor said, you got to tell him, like, he's getting old enough. He has to know.
What
what's
was
going
John's response to that? What was your perception of
He
how
did
he
not
felt?
care one whit because I've been in his life the whole time, from his birth to being 9 years old. He just wanted to get going playing his video games. Like, we found out through phone message that she had told him. And I'm like, well, we had no time to prepare. Phone message, he's on his way over. He knows you're his parents. This is the kind of thing she would do. There was some instabilities there. So I'm like, well, okay, well, what do I do now? Like, oh, hi, John, I'm your mom. So that's all it was. It was like, he opened the door. We said, are you okay? And he said, I'm fine. Like, where's the PlayStation? Because he got to use the PlayStation. So,
Nice.
like, and we just moved on from there. It was,
Okay.
and
so John is he 30 now? Or
he's
31?
33. He's
33
33 now, yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, no, it's good. And he's a great kid. I mean, he calls me mom. The first time he did that, it was very emotional, I guess. I felt very
For
happy
sure.
with that because I was Auntie Sue forever. And yeah, kids are very resilient. He's amazing. I mean, he's gone through some difficulties with certain things with what's happened with the transitioning and that. But it's all, we work through everything. We've been very close, but he's just a character. So we love him.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
He sees us as his parents, and he sees Sandy also as a mother. And he's very good to her. He's cared for her. She's going through cancer as well.
Oh, wow.
He's made sure that he's been there for her. So
where does she live? She close by?
She's in Victoria. Yeah, she's in Victoria. But over the years, we could never ever try to have that kind of reconciliatory. We'll all just be one big happy family.
Yeah.
Because we were one big happy family for a little too long. And whenever I kind of would be in her sphere, like we talk on the phone or whatever, talk about John and so on, she would just start telling me how to live my life, which is what she did for 20 years, was how to feel, how to, live my life, what I should do and whatever. And she would just start telling me where my heart should be at. And I went, you know what? I can't do this because I have to walk my own path now, like my own person. And that's who I'm going to be. And so we could never really be together because also eventually it would break down into a situation of negativity over the past and so on. So it just couldn't be done. And I never wanted to experience what she dished out over those 9 years again. So.
Okay. Can we, so at that point, you and Rachel are together and you're having
very happy. We announced I got my engagement ring. I'm like, and it was just so liberating. It's like, and people kept saying, we knew it all along. We knew you should have been together. It's about time. All our friends and family and everybody, because Rachel and I, over the years that Sandy was not well, over those 9 years, we just did everything together. We did the shopping, we did the cleaning, we did the this, we did the that, I got the rides to work or pickups and this and that. We took John out. It was just it was just a no-brainer that we had a thing going on.
When you guys left together, when you guys left together, was it like a honeymoon, kind of like, oh my goodness, we've put in all this time searching and going through these trials and everything, and then you're together, you're alone together, you're not sharing each other with anybody? That must have felt just liberating and fantastic.
I never felt that free really in my whole life. It was like I made my decision to say goodbye to everybody. I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet, and then you choose to come and be with me, and I'm just like, that's what you would have wanted. But I'm not going to make or ask or do. I've got to cut that tie no matter what happens. And so, yeah, I remember we went out for our first dinner together shortly after that. And actually, Dave had just left, like told Sandy, you know what? I have to tell you, it's just not going to work. And I'm going to go with Sue. And he did not want to have to tell her that. And the whole thing is a heartbreaking and tragic story, you know, because to be in a situation where that pain is inflicted on someone else, I will never, you know, be happy. We were never the couple that was like, yippee, we did this or we did that. We never felt good about any of that part of anything. Mm-hmm. And we always felt ashamed of ourselves for being together when he was still married. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we went out for a dinner. I said, well, I'm going to go here and eat if you want to join me, whatever. And I think Dave drank 12 beers before he came and met me. So he had liquid encouragement to say, you know, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go with Sue. I'm going to move out. And I think it took 12 beers to do that.
Yeah.
And he came walking into the restaurant, like on his own 2 feet, on his own steam. And we ate dinner and we talked and whatnot. And it was nuts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't condone. I mean, I don't suggest anybody going through this.
Yeah, but it had to be this way, Sue, didn't it? Yeah.
Had to be this way.
Yeah.
And now, like the last years, like I always say, like from 40 to now, these have really been the most amazing years of my life. So
that's fantastic. I have grown up and have so many friends whose marriages deteriorate over the years, and their relation they get a little tiny bit of contempt for each other, and that grows and grows and grows, and then it becomes more of just a business agreement.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky to be in a relationship where if I would have known how much I love my wife now when we got married, I would have been no way. It can't be this way. But and I think it's a rare thing to have your best years ahead of you with your relationship. Not that you won't go through really difficult struggles.
Yeah.
And speaking of that,
well, I just want to interrupt for 2 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know how much time you have, but I just wanted to say I am reading all the comments, and they are fine. And
Sue, how are you doing for time? Do you have time to hang out? Well, okay.
We've got till noon.
So we'll talk a little bit further, and then we'll open it up for questions for people to ask you and stuff like that. So if you type in a question earlier and I didn't put it up there, feel free to do that after a bit here.
Okay.
So I want to talk a little bit about when you got sick and what that was like and how that came about, if you're okay with that.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Okay. How long ago was that?
So in 2022, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And just after a routine mammogram, I went in. The lady took the picture. Then she said, well, don't go yet. And I'm like, oh. And then she's like, I think we want to just do an ultrasound. And I'm like, okay. And then she's doing the ultrasound. Then she's saying, I think I'd like to call in the doctor. And I'm like, start crying. You know, you're just like, now I'm terrified, but I like got myself together. Doctor says, you know what, let's just do a biopsy. I'm available. Normally you have to book a biopsy. You have to wait. Mm-hmm. He was right there. Within half an hour, I had a biopsy. He said, you know, I think you really should prepare yourself. It could be bad news. And, but we never know, but, you know, so I go home, I tell Rachel, and so we're waiting. Like a week later, I'm in Home.
Oh my goodness, a week.
I'm like, a week later, I'm at Home Depot or whatever. I'm trying to look for a doorknob for our place. And the doctor calls, he says, hi, Sue. And I could tell from his voice right away. And he said, I got to tell you, it's not good news. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, well, it is cancer. It is breast cancer, of course. And I'm like, okay. All right. Got my doorknob here. You know, I got to put the doorknob on today. And he did some stuff. And you just kind of go into this stunned sort of shock. And all I could think of was, how am I going to tell Rachel? Like, I just don't want to bring this news home. And so we had a little chat on the phone. I went home, told Rachel. But right away, I basically was like, how am I going to fight this thing? I'm not gonna freak out yet.
Did he give you a prognosis over the phone right away there? Or?
No, you have to
none of
go
that.
and they'll do a,
Consultation.
they book a time with a surgeon, and so on. And you just, it went by really fast because for some reason, normally you have to wait about 3 months for a surgery. I got in within 10 days.
Hmm.
She said, "Oh, would you be ready to go in 4 days to have your surgery?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm like going to do it." And so everything was so fast. I had no time to really process. I had to just do all the stuff for appointments for the surgery. The house became very dusty. It was very difficult at that time. And I'm like, no, let's just do this. Lots of women survive breast cancer. I mean, we were in shock, to be fair. And it
It is the C word. Yeah.
It's the C word, and it's terrifying. And you're like, but in my mind, I'm just like, what am I going to freaking do about it? I've always been kind of like, how am I going to fix this? You can see from my past relationships, I was very loyal to trying to make them work.
Mhm.
And in this way, I'm very stubborn. I'm like, I'm not going to drop this until it's fixed or it works or whatever. And I didn't cry. It was good. I mean, the only time I was really scared is when I got a message on the phone saying, because I had a test of the lymph nodes, and you don't want the cancer in your lymph nodes because that
Right.
would be elsewhere in your body, and that means probably chemotherapy, and your chances of survival go down.
Mhm.
So I'm like, yeah, well, I ditched Ampy pretty good. I know. Two-timing Ampy. But yeah, where was I? Oh yeah,
Lymph
so
nodes.
I got a message. I was at work that the cancer had spread to the lymph nodes. I heard that on a phone message, and I'm like, that was really scary. That was more scary than getting the actual
Diagnosis.
diagnosis from the doctor. Can you tell us how it feels to be a scullery maid? Right now, every minute is precious, PB Thal. Every
Yeah.
minute is precious. But so you go through different diagnostics, and they decide whether you should go for chemotherapy. And they did the biopsies on the lymph nodes, etc. And I was kind of at the high end of the low diagnostics for chemotherapy. So they suggested, well, you could kind of leave it, but that's really risky. You really need to do chemo. And I'm like, oh, okay. No, that's what I didn't want.
Mhm.
Sick. Like, I mean, right now I feel fine. Now I know when I get chemo, I'm going to be sick for a long time. So you just have to get very much in that space of, I'm in fight mode. I got a great team of doctors. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to stay extremely positive. I'm going to surround myself with like people on YouTube or wherever that are positive. So not Facebook groups where everyone is crying and sad and in fear all the time. I've got to kind of step out and away from that. So it was good.
What was Rachel's response in that time, those first few weeks? What was it like, your relationship like
Very,
then?
very disturbed and upset.
Yeah.
I could tell she went totally off all her health stuff. She had just lost 30 pounds, was really working on her diet and her looking after herself. And then, no, it's very disruptive and frightening. She was afraid she was going to lose me. And you can't, you just have to push through with your normal life, even though internally, you're really messed up. But you have to still go to the store, do the things, doing her YouTube channel, looking after our dog. I mean, we just had to keep moving on. So
you did chemo, right?
my chemo, yeah.
How long of a process was that?
It was supposed to be 4-month chemo, and I ended up doing 2.5 months because the second type of chemo I was going to take made me really, really sick. So I ended up in the hospital, and I realized now I was close to crossing over at that point. It could have gone one way or the other as far as what was going on with my my lungs became very inflamed, and then that can be fatal. So they're working on trying to control that, and they were able to, thank goodness. If not, then you're not going to, get through that step and things.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I didn't really understand all that was happening at that time. I just knew I was really sick or whatever. It was a week in the hospital. Rachel's looking after the house on her own, folks, and the dog and the food. And, and of course that was during, still COVID stuff. She couldn't come in the hospital and see me because she wasn't jabbed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are not, I'm not going to go into it, but it was us both a great deal that she could be there. So anyway, got through that, got well. I'm here to this day. I spent the last 2 years trying to heal, and trying to deal with the side effects of what the chemotherapy did to my system, basically.
Sure. I mean, it poisons the cancer, but it also poisons everything else, doesn't it?
Yeah, chemotherapy is a brutal way to treat cancer, and I really feel there's got to be better ways to kind of deal with this.
Yeah.
And hoping that in the future people don't have to go through this.
So you probably even before Rachel's recent dietary restrictions and all that kind of stuff, you probably delved into the right foods to eat and supplements and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've always been tried to be a healthy eater because I grew up with that, and so stayed away from fast foods and all that kind of stuff. And but I just became much more strict and I did a lot more research about sugar and carbs and alcohol and everything that is great and good and fun to eat. But once I kicked the carbs, it's been super easy.
Yeah.
I'm
making an analogy here and wondering if you've had something similar with your experience with cancer. I've partaken of LSD years and years ago, and had great experience, and it was fine. But I had an experience where I kicked the door open in my mind that was that exposed me to the feeling of death and the intimacy with which we live, like it's right beside us all the time.
This is pretty
it changed the perspective on my life profoundly, and how I how I operate and how I interact with people. And I'm wondering surely this experience with you has has made your interaction with people and the love you express and feel and the deepness with which you do feel, it's probably had a profound effect. Would you say that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you do feel like, okay, I mean, you have to live in the moment. And I think, but it's true for anyone really over 50, probably understands and has a realization that we're not here forever. We're not on the planet forever. How are you going to affect the world that you're in? And people in the smallest ways, how are you going to make somebody else's life better? Make this world better. I mean, and feel some sense of that within your own self. I mean, but having a cancer diagnosis, and also where you have a couple of experiences where, well, that could have been it. I could not be here. If I ever feel grumbly or whiny or have a moment of self-pity, it's very easy to get a good reality check and go, look, it's only this wonderful story and God or whatever that you're still here to experience, that you're annoyed by this or annoyed by that.
We in our house, if the car breaks down or something, we say these are the problems we want. And when you've gone through a health scare and stuff like that, and as we have in our family and different things, the little problems, they don't weigh on you like they used to before you.
That's really true. I can really go, this just doesn't matter. It's annoying and it might stress me out for a day or so, but I'm like, truly, this does not matter in the grand scheme of things. In 2 days, this is all going to be out of my mind. So why am I getting stressed out about it? Right?
Worrying. I'm a worrywart, and I constantly have to remind myself that worrying about something doesn't change anything.
Doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
No,
it
no.
doesn't.
Of course, I worry about Loki's feelings all the time.
Yeah, as we all do.
In the back of my mind, is Loki okay? Is he all right? And is he happy with the topics being discussed?
Right.
But yeah,
Okay, let's
and it's changed my life in great ways. But there's been so many things that have happened in our lives, in Rachel and my life. You know, there's a whole transgender thing we didn't even touch on. That was insane.
yeah.
And the point is, we live in the present. Our present is beautiful. You can have difficult times that you've gone through. Those were moments in time, but you cannot live in them and live with the emotions of those things. And sometimes it's hard to shake off those negative emotions that you got during those times because you still are triggered by this or triggered by that or whatever. You got to find ways to combat that and live in the present because that's all we have. This is all we
Indeed.
have right
Yeah.
here.
What's that saying? The now is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a gift. The present is a gift.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't live in tomorrow and you can't
No.
live in yesterday. I mean, this is what I got. So I'm like, hello.
Yeah.
So we're very happy. I mean, so many hurdles have been overcome. And now we find ourselves in a home, you know, we're healthy. We got new ampy. We got great music, great friends. You know, I mean, I can't count my blessings enough every day. So
Yeah. Indeed. Okay, let's I think Loki wants us to lighten up a little bit, so we can do that now, I suppose is
I feel it was a joyous occasion despite what Loki said.
yes.
We can talk about other stuff another
time. Okay, I'll start things off by asking a few questions. If somebody wants to pop questions up, I'll try to keep up with the chat. If you could give your son a superpower, what would it be?
I think I would give my son wisdom. I'd give him the superpower of wisdom and maybe a little more empathy in his
what about
toolbox.
Okay, if we're talking superpower, you know, do you think that having more wisdom than everyone else would make you more lonely?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I mean, you're not going to having wisdom isn't going to separate you from people that you love.
Yeah, I guess wisdom and discernment.
It's not like you're going around going, I'm a hoity-toity. I know how to do this or that or the next thing, you know. In fact, I think it would help to keep your relationship stronger, you know.
Yeah.
How smarter you are.
Okay. What's one thing that you can't live without?
Rachel. I can't live without Rachel.
Yeah. That's the right answer.
My morning cup of coffee is going to come next.
Black or cream and sugar?
Well, it's supposed to be black, but I've been putting goat milk in there because I'm.
Oh, that's right. You do the goat milk.
I get black.
Have you ever tried putting butter in your coffee?
I heard about that, but yes, and I did put a little butter and salt in it once, and I didn't really like it.
I don't know about the salt, but the butter, I did that for a little bit. It puts a slick on everything.
Yeah.
There's like an oil slick on everything. Yeah, it's interesting.
But I like the goat milk better.
Yeah. And do you get it pasteurized so it's not gamey? Yeah. Yeah, I think if it's pasteurized, it's not much different tasting than cow milk, right?
It tastes different to me,
A little
definitely.
bit? Okay. Yeah. Is it more gamey? Does it taste more like the pasture?
It tastes a bit more rich. It's really good. Yeah. No, it's delicious. Yeah.
And you just get that at the grocery store?
At a health food store.
Health food store. Okay. Do you have a good health food store that you like?
We do. Yeah. It's just down the street.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Does it, we have some health food stores here that I really love, and Whole Foods is kind of like that a little bit. When they have a particular smell that I absolutely love. As soon as I walk in the front door, there's that health food smell. I don't know what it is.
Weird herb they've got.
Maybe so.
But yeah.
What's a red flag that you for you with people?
Man, definitely arrogance would be a huge red flag. I mean, I don't know, people how do I put that into words? I don't quite know, but
Yeah.
you know, if somebody's arrogant or they just, I just read them. I mean, and I'm getting a red flag. I'm like, this
Yeah.
person.
Kind of betrays insecurity, doesn't it? In
Yeah.
people?
Yeah. No,
Cool.
I like nice people.
If you could just have basically one meal for the rest of your life, is there something that you never get tired of?
Wow, I love spaghetti and meatballs.
Really?
I love spaghetti.
Could
But
you do that over and over?
food. What's that?
Could you do that over and over?
Probably.
Really? Any
love
particular red sauce
Yeah.
with just hamburger meatballs?
Or
Maybe.
whatever. If
Do
they're
you ever
really
like mix pork and hamburger together?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Do you
And real Parmesan cheese. Oh my God.
do you use gluten-free noodles at all? Like when
I
you
don't
do
use
that?
any pasta at all.
So no, not even like what is it?
No.
Is it spelt flour or almond
No
flour
veggie
noodles? Or...
noodles, nothing. I don't
Oh,
do
really?
anything that's going to trigger any carbs. I was on these meds for 2 years that were basically told you to store glucose, and so you can't. I kept gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining
Okay.
weight. So I just kicked everything that is a carb.
So the only carbs that you have now are vegetables, probably, right?
Probably, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And a
So
bit of fruit.
And a bit of fruit. Okay. So you high protein diet, basically.
Well, just regular protein, vegetables, bit of fruit.
Do you count calories or do you just you just eat?
Counting calories never worked for me.
Okay. All right. And are you doing the OMAD thing?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I have to have 2 or 3 meals a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eggs?
Rich is fasting right now, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not cooking dinner.
Nice.
But,
do you like eggs?
I love eggs. Yeah.
How do you like your eggs, mostly?
Scrambled probably is my favorite.
I like a runny egg. I love a runny egg. Especially, you know what? I love a runny egg over salad, like over leaf salad with some vinaigrette. It makes it really creamy. I don't know why I like that.
Sweet poodles.
Oh yeah. Rochelle says make zucchini noodles. I've heard of those before.
Them, yeah. No, they're good. I had all those before when I was trying to eat really healthy, but it was still triggering glucose storage. Still, I couldn't have anything that had that.
Bill likes zucchini noodles.
Yeah.
Down there on the coast.
Yeah.
Americans and their pasta talk. Yeah. Eat your potato, Loki.
Are you going to ask any music questions?
Well, I was going to ask you about a favorite album or two, like or maybe some music that was really impacted your life in certain ways.
Well, when I was a teenager, I used to listen to the Eagles and Billy Joel, and Rachel would always laugh at me and go, Billy Joel. And I go, well, I think mad at, like, that's just my taste. Like, how dare you get mad at that? I liked Glass Houses or whatever. And
great album.
Yeah, and we still play. We bought an album and played, and it was really good. Nice. But I'm going, it just brings back memories. Christian music, of course. When I became a Christian, I listened to Keith Green. I love Bob Dylan, and I love Saved. Of course, I played that. I rushed out, bought that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Played it like over and over again. And of course, my mom is like stay at home. She was stay at home. She didn't work. She probably would have been retired by then anyway. But she's like, oh my God, don't play Bob Dylan again. I'm like, I gotta play Saved again. And so I loved all that music, and I played it constantly, all the Christian music. I didn't really listen to a lot of music till I became a Christian and bought some Christian music. But I did play Eagles. I would sit there as a teenager and cry, and Desperado, and I'd cry, and all the, sappy songs. I would cry and feel sad and feel unloved and all that kind of stuff. And, so, but yeah. I love pretty much anything that sounds good, to be honest, but I do like jazz, as everybody knows. I'm not a jazz, like I don't store all that stuff in my brain. I'm a bit like Johnny L that way. I mean, I like this and I like that, but don't ask me to name anybody. But I do like Jerry Mulligan.
Jerry Mulligan.
My favorite.
Whenever I see a Jerry Mulligan album, I think of you.
I love piano jazz at first because it was so and just so relaxing. And then I used to drink wine, so I'd have a glass of wine listen to the piano jazz. It was so amazing and relaxing. I'm going like, wow, I love jazz. Maybe I just loved wine. Who knows? But anyway, I still love my jazz even without the wine. But it's great. So I was gifted this one here. Night Lights is incredible.
Cool.
So this is such a beautiful album. I can't wait to play it on the new system.
I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna stream that. I'll write that down. After stream it this afternoon. Nightlife, did you say?
Lights. Jerry
Night Lights.
Lights is amazing. There goes that tissue box. Charlie Hayden, Night in the City. This was gifted as well to me when I was starting my little collection. Thank you. You guys know who you are. And this is a double album. It's got that. I love the feeling of a jazz album where you play it and you feel like you're there in the club and you're just there and that whole vibe is there and it's just so restorative.
You can kind of hear glasses tinkling and murmuring.
It's just so cool. And I just love that feeling when you get that from the music. It's just so neat. I love Julie for a female jazz artist.
Oh, cool.
So just smooth.
Yeah.
Her voice is so smooth and it's like a freaking lullaby. It was great. Yes, Fluffy, I would have to check to be honest, man, my memory. I have issues with my brain, my memory. Things are not what they used to be. I do have issues still from that brain injury, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse right now. But it's probably the fact that I'm 64 and lacking in estrogen that I don't remember everything is quite the way I used to. But
I'm trying, Loki. I'm trying. Okay, here's one from Loki.
Okay.
So if you met Chauncey in real life, would you stroke him, tickle him, or pinch him?
Chauncey, no, I'm going to pinch Chauncey.
Okay.
I'm going to pinch him.
I think that's appropriate.
Yeah.
Sue, have you ever seen Dagon's Knees?
I haven't yet, but time will tell. Now I'm gonna have to look next time and take a picture next time we meet up.
I think Loki also wanted to know if Dagon smells.
He smells good. Dagon smells.
I think he would.
I hugged Dagon. He smelled good.
That's cool.
Chauncey's like, what? That's for all your shenanigans, Chauncey. You're getting pinched.
Yeah.
62-year-old.
I gotta scroll back here to see if I.
But, you know what? I love the music. The whole thing with when Rachel started a YouTube channel, I was working at the kennel, so working with the dogs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Eating, sleeping. Once in a while, I would pop on the channel every once in a month or whatever.
So you weren't a producer from the start. That came later.
No, I had nothing. There's just no way. I had nothing to do. I walked back and forth. Patrick would call me the scullery maid because I brought in the food while Rachel was alive.
Hence the comment.
And hence the comment, yeah. And so no, I didn't really get involved until 2023, really, when we moved in. I was more involved in 2022, but that was just I was through treatment and all that stuff at that point. But 2023, I had to retire because I still wasn't well enough to work. So we got this all worked out. I got up here in Nanaimo and I'm sitting there watching the show because what else am I going to do? I've got no horse to ride, no dog to walk, and I just started joining the chat and doing stuff. And Rachel would joke and call me the producer. And then I would start getting a bit more mouthy about why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Or why don't you whatever.
Also, you're learning more about the characters that she's interacting with too at the time.
Oh yeah, as time went on, I got to know everybody, and it's been really great. So, yeah.
Ian is asking if you'd have a long distance relationship with him.
That'll be a big no.
Okay. Piano jazz is great. Bass,
maybe throw in more doodles, throw in a horse. Who knows?
Here's a good question. Jack wants to know when did you retire and when did Rachel retire?
Rachel retired Freedom 55. She retired Freedom 55. She was working as a guard.
What's Freedom 55?
She was 55 when she retired.
Oh, is that a thing? What signifies Freedom 55?
I don't know. It's some American thing from some insurance company or something. Freedom 55. You can if you do this, you can retire at 55.
Oh, okay.
You invest this here, invest that there.
All right.
So Rachel was working as a jail guard. Things were insane there, and honestly, her blood pressure was sky high, and it's a good thing she left that position. And I said, well, we can afford it. Why don't you just, retire? And you've paid your dues. You've had the last few jobs were not great, and let's not go through this again.
Mm-hmm.
I was happily employed. I was working at Butchart Gardens, and we could afford it. So, yeah.
And what about you?
So I retired in 2020, basically when I got my cancer diagnosis.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I knew I didn't have the energy to work with the dogs again. And I wasn't well enough even to work retail. And it took a long time to recover from the chemo. So really within that year, I decided, you know what, I don't think I'm going to be going back anytime soon.
So that was in 2022. So basically just like the last year or so, you've really you got your health back, and you're both retired, and you're kind of, you're in the sweet spot, so to speak.
We're in a sweet spot. So we're both incredibly thankful every day. We thank God for the blessings that we have, that we're both here. I mean, we say to each other, what a blessing. We're here together. We're watching another movie. It's just incredible. Like, I can't even explain.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. We're in a good place right now. So, yeah.
Yvonne has started his retirement countdown. Go for it, buddy. That's awesome. He's going to be turning, I think, the big 6-0 before too long. Yeah. And he looks like he's 45.
I know.
That's great.
I know. Yvonne looks good.
Chauncey says Canadians retire too early. No, I think we work too long.
We don't. Most Canadians are working way past 65.
Yeah.
Way past 65.
And they're trying to up the retirement age to like 67 now and stuff like that.
Well, they did, and then Trudeau repealed it, so it's 65 again. But people can't afford to. If we weren't in the situation that we were in, with how things worked out for us, it would be very difficult, supporting yourselves, paying your rent, and all these things. But it's tough for everyone.
Yvonne wants to know if you're looking forward to flower season, which is upon us basically now in the Northwest. Yeah.
Well, I've got my planters all done, and things will just over the next month are just going to start to expand and look beautiful. So yeah, I love my garden.
May is my favorite month of the year. I mean, it's great for motorcycle riding here, but just everything blossoming and everything's green, and I don't know what the Celsius is, but it's it's like 60.
If it's over 60, I'm happy.
Yeah, see, anything above 60 is wonderful for me, unless it gets above 80, and then that's a little warm.
Yeah.
Bill's not ready to retire. No way, Jose.
Oh, Bill's not ready. No way. Bill's just a youngster. Holy. Can you recommend a good post hole digger? Well, we had a dear friend. He was a landscaper, gardener, Manuel. Was a great Portuguese guy. I knew his wife through the horse community. I said, can you build us a fence, Manuel? And he says, oh yeah, for sure. And he comes and he specs everything out, and he gives me this quote, and I go, Manuel, that's a pretty low quote, even though, like, how can you? He goes, oh, we'll just dig here and dig there. And I go, I warned him, the ground is like rock where in our last home. And so he goes, oh no, we'll be fine. And then his son and him come to dig the post holes, and they're digging and they're sweating and they're laboring, and his son's a youngster. And I go, you should have had a pneumatic kind of post hole digger for here. They did it all by hand, never changed.
Where it goes down like this.
Well, you need one that was like the drill turned.
Oh, okay. All right.
And went in. No, they dug it all by hand. It was insane.
Like your ice fishing, those augers. Those are fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Jens has 11 years to go.
Yeah.
Hang in there, buddy.
Hang in there, yeah.
Let's see here. I'll get just a little bit deep here before we say goodbye. What what is something that you you would hope or wish that somebody who disagrees you knows
Um,
or want them to understand?
I would hope that if they disagreed with me, that maybe the reasons they're disagreeing with me, that foundation may not be correct. So I would hope that they would dig deeper and understand where I was coming from and where my perspective came from. And maybe they're disagreeing with me because they misunderstand where I'm at, or what I'm saying and where it's coming from is coming from. So I would hope that I would be understood for what my heart is saying and for what I believe.
Yeah. What
Mhm.
does what do you think our country needs right now?
Your country in America?
Yeah, all our
Yeah,
North America or
I think,
as
you know,
broader.
I won't get too political, but I think that people need freedom. I think people need freedom of expression above everything. People need freedom of speech. So I'm very, I was very affected by what happened during the pandemic, by the freedoms that were taken from me during that time, because I didn't want to get an experimental medical procedure, how our lives were changed by all of that, and how we weren't allowed to talk about it or express that we didn't like that. Even within friends, family, everywhere, I just feel like freedom of expression and freedom of speech should not be curtailed in any way, shape, or form. If you don't like what I'm saying, if I'm saying something that you feel is like outrageous, don't listen, go away. I'm not trying to, if you're not promoting violence against another human, I feel that you are, or hatred, then I feel that you should be able to speak freely. And unfortunately, these things are being curtailed in our country and
Yeah.
other countries. I mean,
And
we live here. I mean, it's worse than a lot of other places.
yeah, there's no doubt about it. As far as that goes, you would, and I'm sure you would say you would want the people who are saying things you don't agree with to have the freedom to say the things they do
Absolutely.
too.
Of course,
Yeah.
I want to be able to, you can say whatever you want. I may not agree. You
Yeah.
have that right to express what you believe, and I should have the same freedom. And I don't think governments and politicians should be involved in any of that. So I don't think they should be restricting platforms. So Facebook can't put news on Canadian websites. Like you can't repost in Canada, you can't repost American news on a Facebook website in Canada. If it's from an American,
Really?
a mainstream American thing, it's totally shut down. So there's an avenue of information that Canadians can't access because the government thinks that's not good for us Canadians. And I think that is outrageous. So, I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, I could go on for a long time, but I won't. But no, we need to be able to speak from our hearts freely, what we agree or disagree with, especially when it comes to our overlords. And if you can't do that, then there's no room for dissent. There's no room to challenge the government. The government can just squash what you think and what you believe and tell you to stay in your little home and be quiet. And or we're going to do this. We're going to close bank accounts. We're going to take you off platforms, even go to jail. Lots of Canadians have gone to jail over just stuff from the pandemic. And
isn't that wild? I've seen, in Australia and different places, people just posting just benign things.
Yeah.
There was that lady that got arrested down in Florida for kind of telling off her insurance. She got denied. She had a health insurance claim denied, and she kind of told them off, and they came and got her. And
I mean, unless you're saying so-and-so, go take this person out.
Yeah, you can't, incite violence or threaten people, obviously. But yeah. Okay. Well, if you could ask God a question, what would you ask?
Oh boy. That's a tough one. I ask him little questions every day. I guess you would be tempted to ask when he's coming back. I guess I say, when are you coming back? Like, what is the timetable here? I've got my own opinion about what I feel about where we're at in the timetable of things. But wouldn't you be tempted to, I mean, if you're trying to ask God a question about what he's doing, that would be one of the things that I would
Yeah.
ask. But,
Okay. Okay. Last question. Where would you like to visit?
oh, wow. I would like to visit anywhere and everywhere. I would love to travel. That would be amazing. I love the UK. I mean, that was incredible. I'd love to see Europe. But things are so weird right now. I just don't feel, and I hate flying. I'd love to go back to Montreal. We were in Montreal when Rachel had some surgery, and I love that city. It was so beautiful.
Do you like road trips?
Travel to the freaking beach. It's great.
Yeah, right. I love living near the beach. That's one of my
do like-
most favorite things.
I like road trips, but I find the driving a bit exhausting. Man, I drove all over the UK for like a month.
Okay.
And
Oh, wow. That would have been stressful.
Yeah. My favorite parts were like, we're at the pub now. Let's get a beer. This is
Yeah.
great.
No doubt.
So much fun. Woo.
I let my sisters do all the driving when I was in Belfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas.
right.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Texas.
Texas, Norway.
I've been to
Yeah.
California, Mexico. I mean, I'm not well traveled. I love to see Paris. I mean, there's so many beautiful places. I love to see New York.
Yeah.
It would be great to see these places, but
Sue, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
welcome. It was fun.
I'm blessed by
I'm
you.
blabbing.
Yeah, thank you so
I
much.
can blab quite a lot.
No, you're not a blabber in the slightest. You're very captivating, and your story is so inspiring. And I think everybody really loved hearing more about you and getting to know you
Thank you.
better.
I
So,
just want to end totally quickly, just to interrupt you.
okay.
Not everybody has a perfect life. I
Yeah.
look at my friends, and some of them have had really a blessed life that does not have these kinds of struggles that I had or we had. And I'm happy for them. I'm so happy for them. Don't go through crap. Be wise, make good decisions, have a beautiful life. And, you won't have to have, dealt with some of the things that we dealt with. But, and we live in the present now. It's all good. We're happy.
Yeah, but you're a beautiful and sweeter person because you went through all that shit too.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
I've become more, as a young person, I was very, stubborn, arrogant, just like any young person. You think you got it figured out. Externally, I tried to be all that. And of course I wasn't. Internally, I was a mess. And so,
When I was 18, I never lost an argument. But now the one thing I'm sure about is I don't know anything.
yeah, exactly. As you get
Yeah.
older, you realize I don't really know.
Yeah.
anything. There's so many perspectives on everything. So yeah. It was
Fantastic.
great. Fun. And thank you everybody in the chat for your
Yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. And sorry I couldn't keep up with anything, but I was captivated by Sue's story, and hopefully we got some good interaction with y'all. And we'll see you hopefully next Sunday at 10 o'clock. We'll maybe have a guest, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see what we can pin down, and we'll go from there. So bye-bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your Mother's Day. And to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. And we're so blessed that you're in our lives. Take care.
Bye. Thank you. It's called the rule of law, Loki.
Yeah, exactly.